Welcome to the Choose on Purpose podcast, where we live with intention. I am your host, Becky Ploutz. This podcast is here to fuel your fire, empower your journey, and to celebrate the fierce determination of multi-passionate entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders who are courageously making their mark on the world. As I said, I'm your host, Becky Ploutz. I'm a seasoned entrepreneur, empowerment portrait photographer with over a decade of experience behind the lens. And beyond that, I'm a connector, a story listener, a heart story listener. I love to go deep with people. I'm a firm believer in transformation and the power of that in embracing your fear to be your friend so that you can go further, faster, and with more fun. This is a dynamic space to bring you other leaders to deep dive with into their heart stories. And for those that are willing to shift, and walk through that fear and those challenges as a friend and embrace the lessons that they learn after doing it. So together we'll explore these detours, rest stops, and green light moments that have shaped the leaders and community builders I bring to you as guests around my own experiences. And listen, I'm a mom, a caregiver, a female leader, and I know firsthand about juggling all the things, striving for excellence, and celebrating those moments and those victories of those soul nurturing insights that we get to unpack here at Choose on Purpose. So I'm really excited to get to welcome our guest on the show. Welcome, Angela. I'm so excited that you're joining us. Angela Wilson is the founder of Angela Unlimited, which the name alone has so much that I want to unpack and share and bring to the table as well. Angela is a champion for women's courage. She is an author, a speaker, and financial healer. I love that that's the title that you enjoy to share with people. And I'm excited to welcome you to the Choose on Purpose podcast. So thanks for joining me today, Angela. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. And thanks for having me, Becky. I always love an opportunity to chat with you for sure.
Yeah, it's so fun. And so go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us more about you and Angela Unlimited.
Sure. So Angela Unlimited, it's funny that you made the comment about the name of the company. And it's really comes down to reminding ourselves every single day that we are completely unlimited. And that's why I did that, is so that every day when I get to say what the name is, that I remember, Angela, you're unlimited. I think that is so important for everyone, that we lean in that direction. And as you said, I use the term financial healer because it really is about us healing our mindset and us really not allowing money to have any kind of power over us at all. It's just an exchange of energy. That's all it is. It's energy moving. 100%.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so this is why I knew I was excited to invite Angela into this conversation and dive in more about, one, the words that we choose to use around our money, our financials. I mean, I just feel like even the intentional words that you've chose for your mission and what you're doing to support women is so intentional, and it's very on purpose. And so I love that you said that it is first your own reminder, that you put that for yourself to remember on the day to day how you are, limitless, and taking that off of yourself, and so that you can go first, right, from the women that you are supporting. So how long have you been a financial healer?
So yeah, it's fascinating. We all have a journey, and
Yeah.
and it really is. So I'm a CPA, so I'm a designated accountant, and
Okay.
I was in that realm for a very long time. I'm not a young chicken, so
You were
I
experienced. You
I
have
am
wisdom.
experienced. I am. I have lots of wisdom,
Yeah.
and it is, I was in that spot for a very long time. And I really shifted about 2, 3 years ago now more onto the financial healer side, because what I was realizing when I was having conversations with women is everybody wanted to talk to money about money with behind, like, the closed door, behind the hand, nobody wanted to say anything out loud
Yeah.
about money. And it's interesting because when you get to know me a little bit, one of the things I always say is people would far rather tell me what goes on in their bedroom than
Right.
talk about money. And I'm like, why? This doesn't make any sense to me. And and it comes from my own history as well. So as I said, CPA, could I all day long, I had my clients buttoned down, no problem. But at home, my finances were a mess. And you
Mm.
want to know why? Because I was a mess. I didn't have things
Mm.
handled in my own life, but I couldn't say that out loud to anyone because I was
Yeah.
in, that situation where I didn't have the mindset. I had all the knowledge, but I didn't have the mindset to be able to do it. And so I really, when I got my mindset right and shifted my life, I decided I don't want other women to feel like this.
Mm.
I want them to stand in their power, in their courage all the time. And that's why I really decided to do this. And it's interesting because it's a journey. It's not a one and done. And that's why the reminder, Angela Unlimited, you need to remind yourself all the time.
Yeah, that's so great. So, I am always like taking notes and wanting to like pull things through the conversation. So, if you see on video that it looks like I'm typing, I'm typing to put some things in the chat just for my own awareness to remember thoughts as we're going along too. So I love that you said, getting your mindset right and the full transparency of how your life wasn't in order yet, right? And knowing that, that just brings up, right, that it is a choice to be able to do it for other people, right? When we have a real purpose and intention for someone else, for especially for energy exchange, for our livelihood and getting to, create money flow with our talents or our gifts or just our craft, whatever that is. And there's so much power when we stand in our own confidence that we could do it for ourselves and that we're worthy of that time also, right?
Yeah.
From putting in that energy for ourselves and then for other people has really been an anthem for my week, Angela. Like, of
Oh,
course
good.
it is.
Of course, because we're talking about it. And it is so important because, you know, I can't remember where I heard this just recently, but it was basically, healed people help heal other people. But if you're still in that spot where you're not, then it really, you you can't help anybody else. So it really is
Yeah.
about putting yourself first and really going after what you want in life. And it's so fascinating that we hold ourselves small. And I can talk about the whole small thing because I was there for a lot of years. Excuse me. And it was, it really was. I didn't think I was as smart as everybody else. I didn't think I was as worthy as everybody else. I was always waiting for someone to make those comments to me because they got made a lot to me. And so it really comes down to, no, that's not the truth. I deserve to have the life that I want, the one that I choose. And I get to live my life by my story. And so many of us aren't living by our own story. We're living by all the
Yeah.
things that other people say. And when we're doing that, money has no option but not to come to us. It has to stay away because it doesn't know what we want. And so it runs away and it goes plays at somebody else's house. And then typically what happens is we get mad because it goes to somebody else's house. And guess what? It still goes to somebody else's house because it's not going to come in,
Right.
you know?
Now there's some energy around it that is far from what you want to welcome in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is I love that you mentioned, that authenticity piece. and really living our life and, choosing that. And I love that. So that's what you assist women in doing, right? Is helping them choose themselves, helping them really lean into that authentic life. And so how do you do that with tying in, wealth into their life? What does that look like?
Well, it's interesting. And I love that you used the word wealth, because
Yeah.
wealth has so many different meanings, and it's really key to figure out what wealth means for you. And it's not wealth, that word goes into a lot of places in our life, not just money, but it's also the wealth of our relationships, the wealth of our health, it's wealth all
Mhm.
over. So one of the things that I love doing with the ladies that I work with is, it's really okay, what does that mean to you? Let's figure that out first, because until you have that full awareness on what you really want, how are you going to get there? You can't. You're just chasing a I think maybe. And when you're chasing a I think maybe, or I love the, someday I'll get to that. Someday
Yeah.
never comes, right? So I really help ladies get a really good awareness on exactly what they truly want. And it's not the things that they think they should want, it's what they truly want. And then from there, we craft a plan on how to get to where you really want to go. And on the financial wealth piece of it, it really is looking at, where are you now? What are your
Mhm.
dreams? Because here's the other thing, most of us have dreams, and we don't allow ourselves to dream, first of all. And second
Right.
of all, we do the whole, I'm not sure how to get there, so obviously I can't do it.
Mm.
And that's not the truth.
Yeah.
It's
I love
really,
that. Something I just thought of is, right, like thinking about dreaming. I was just thinking that dreaming is really living in the possibility. Like that's what comes up for me.
yeah.
Right? Is that how you would describe that? Is, as you're talking about, we don't allow ourselves, fully to dream. Is it that living in the possibility?
Yeah, really, it's living in the possibilities, and it's having your eyes wide open to be able to see the possibilities around us. There are unlimited possibilities out there. Unlimited amounts
I
of
love
them.
the branding. I love it. It's
Exactly,
so true.
exactly. And it really is about living your unlimited life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm all about. And it comes down to when we can start. So when I say the word dreaming, what I really mean is, what is it that you really want? And you have
Mm.
no idea how to get there. Because that's the dream. Those are the things, the possibility. You can call them possibilities. Some people call them goals. I don't like using the word goals, just because, again, there's a success or failure part of it. And language, as we said, early on in this conversation, language is huge.
Yeah.
And
That's
so I love words that are really expansive and don't have that failure piece in there. Because
yeah,
failure is really just another way we learn.
absolutely. 100%. I agree with that. Failure is definitely the way that I know that I've learned. I think that I really talk about the fact that I didn't become an actual learner until I was like 30, and I dove into personal development and lifelong. Like I read multiple books at a time, I dive in, I implement. It's like that is how I express really feeling like tapping into that unlimited life, is always being willing to be a beginner and look at things from a different perspective and just kind of get a different view. And there was something that you mentioned. I was just going to find, oh, I don't have it in front of me. I think I didn't take a picture of it. There was something you said about the words, and there's a Florence Shin quote that is about your words are a wand and how they create the magic of our reality. So whatever that actual quote is, the full thing, just reminded me of, again, talking about how powerful our words are. And really, I think it's important to point out, like you said, you really help the women that you support craft their plan and decide how to get on that unlimited wealthy life that they have defined for themselves. I think that, do you work with core values, or
Well, it's
what?
interesting. Yeah, it's interesting
Yeah.
that you asked that, because underneath everything are our core values. And so
Yeah.
they do come into the conversation, because here's the one of the things that I know: if you're off of those core values, if things aren't lining up with that, things are going to be so difficult for you.
Yeah.
And so it's really crafting the life that you want as the full authentic person you are, and staying true to that, and staying centered. When you're centered and in alignment with your core values and why you're really here, again, on purpose, why you're here, then that's when life, it just gets so juicy and yummy. And what we find is things flow better for us, and things become, we think they become easier. Actually, it's fascinating, because I was just at a training for the last week, and one of the things that was said, and I went, absolutely. And it is, we think as we learn more that things get easier. It's not actually that they get easier, we get better.
Yeah. We get elevated, right? We get elevated
Absolutely.
to a new conscious
Yeah.
awareness around what we have in our reality, and the power that we do have to shape and reshape and re-choose, from our choices that we had yesterday, and build upon them, and again, make it a learning experience.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, because down the road, if we're still doing similar things, it's not that they're easier, it's that we know more, so they feel easier, because we're not doing as much heavy lifting. So I just,
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And I love the quote that you were mentioning.
Yeah.
And it really is. And so I work with the ladies that I work with, I work a lot of language with them.
Mm.
And sometimes it's
Yeah.
a simple word in a sentence. And it's just taking it from that, that spot, that almost expansive, possibilities, to yes, it is. Because the
Mhm.
other thing that I found is, when we do that, it elevates our energy, it elevates where we are, and it invites in more possibilities. And the more possibilities we invite in, then again, life becomes magical. It really does.
Yeah, I love that. And something that just came to me too is thinking about how, when we start opening all those doors and those opportunities, that we, unless we're careful, we can get overwhelmed with the fact that we have options, we have an abundance of these things in our life. And I think that it's great to point out, like, right, what you're saying that you support women with is really helping them be focused, really helping them be intentional about how they're building their support systems, their communities that have their back. Like, I'm assuming it's all of these things, right? And because the first thing that my brain says is, yeah, and when we open all of that, right, that it is like we are open to so much possibility, that if we are, being conscious and aware of the fact that we are going to stay focused on a thing that is our desire, that it's so possible, that it's very much, it's available if it's in our heart, if it's in our conscious, like we're it's possible to make it come and open that up. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we stop ourselves so much
Mm,
from, when we go, oh, I don't know how to get there.
right.
Well, so if you can dream it, there is a way. That's I completely
Yep.
believe that, and I've heard that from so many places as well. And it's really about, take a step. And there's
Yeah.
steps and this is why I love working with the women that I work with, because I can see different steps than they can see, because of the experiences that I've had. So then when I can say, ooh, what about if you try this? And then
Yeah.
they try it and they go, oh, that made me think of this and this and this and this and this. And it's so fascinating. And I have one lady that I'm working with right now, and she just got so excited because she has this really big dream about a house in France.
Wow.
And
Mhm.
she she said right away, though, oh, I don't think I can get there because I don't think at this stage in my life I'll be able to do that. And I said, well, let's just
Mhm.
set that aside for the moment. I said, let's think of something else. So one other thing that she realized is her home doesn't reflect her at all. So I
Mm.
said, let's start on your home. And so she's making one of her rooms into the perfect French room that she wants. Well, that was the initial. And that was actually after about one or two conversations. And then what she decided to do is, oh my gosh, I'm no longer willing to tolerate my house being dingy and not being an expression of me. And she's redecorating the whole house now and finding time to do it. Again, it's one of those things. It's not always, the conversation isn't always about money. Money
Yeah.
comes into it because, okay, how are you going to afford that? How are you? And she's come up with some really amazing creative ideas on different furniture and where to buy it, how to source it. And, it's just, she's having fun.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you made the comment about, people that step back, and it's because it's that fear, that disbelief that they can actually have this. And it's really, we can have anything that we want if we want to choose it, as you said, be intentional and go after it. If we sit on the sidelines and say, you know what, I don't think it's for me, it's not going to be for you. We have to actually get into action.
Yeah. Right. The saying, if you say you can or you say you can't, you're right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Words are your one. So when I play that one on my kids. I have 3 kiddos that are 10, 8, and 7 currently, and that's one of my go-to when they say I can't do it. And I was like, okay, well, if you want to continue to believe that, you know,
Yeah.
then that's what you're gonna get. But I believe that you can figure it out.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because, as kids, kids are so magical because they do dream and
Yeah.
they daydream. But I bet you and a lot of other people listening heard, as they started getting older, stop daydreaming.
You're right.
And it gets taken out of us. Stop having your head in the clouds. I heard that one a lot too.
Mm. Yeah, that's the fast-paced stuff that we've been programmed into. And but I wrote a note to say that you said set aside a disbelief. That's what I heard. The nugget there is, when you're feeling overwhelmed, or that anxiety is coming up around a decision that you are really wanting to be intentional and focused because it's a passion for you, right? Set aside that disbelief. And then the second part that I heard you talking about is creating that space that inspires yourself to really be expressed. So you're talking about the woman redoing the bedrooms and really feeling into that space. And like, our ecosystem is so important to the progress that we choose to make or fail to make a decision on, because we have that weight of the indecision and all of that. But I love that the example of getting into action for recreating the space inside your home. Like, how important is that, especially if you're someone that works at home, right? I'm in a messy studio space right now, thinking about, and I've been thinking about this for a while, about how I want to recreate it and reinvigorate that expression of who I am, how I've grown, especially with launching this podcast recently, like really wanting to set up my space and have my tone. And I don't have anything behind me. It's very bland, and just like, I think about you helping women put color and vibrancy into their life, as a fun way to like color in or out of the lines about like what we see for our financial future. And I love too, I wanted to also bring it to, I love that you are a speaker and an author. Can you tell us more about that? What do you love to speak on? What is your book? Tell us more about that.
Sure. So the book is called Living Out Loud: Design Your Life of Unlimited Possibilities.
Mm.
And it's
Yeah.
really a self-empowerment book for women, and it really takes you through my journey. Being that sparkly, amazing little 3-year-old that knew no limits,
Mm.
and then become completely limited and getting to a spot where I did not use my voice at all.
Mm.
I've rethought before it came out, I would think it about 20 times, because I didn't want to say anything out loud, because I didn't want to embarrass whoever was with me, that I looked stupid. And that was the word that was used. I don't like that word, but that's the word that was used. And it's so fascinating, because when you get into that and your self-worth goes down and down and down and down, then it's a pretty awful spot to sit. And so the book has lots of exercises in it too, to help you along the way, which is great. I'm an avid journaler, and I use that a lot, hence the writing and the book.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. I was told that I couldn't do it, right? And
Mm.
so what did I do? I found a writing coach, and said, and she was the one actually that encouraged me and said, "Hey, why aren't you writing this book?" And I went, "Well, because I'm not a writer." And she said, "Angela," she said, "I'm a writer
Yeah.
and I need an editor." She said, "I'm a published author and she's an editor as well." She goes, "And I need an editor. Everybody needs an editor." And I went, "Oh, well, maybe I can do it."
Mm.
So I did. And you can find that on Amazon. So, and it's one of those things that I'm very proud about doing the book, and,
Yeah.
having it out there. And with regards to speaking, I love talking about, financial wealth with women from the standpoint of, again, it's the power that we give money. It's the words, the languaging that we're using. And I love talking about that. I love talking to them about their dreams and where their dreams need to live, because they need to live
Mm.
in certain areas in our life. And one of them, I know you'll be shocked at this, is in your money. Your dreams
Money.
have to live in your money. If your dreams aren't living in your money, you're not going to go after them at all, because you're not going to be able to finance them.
Right.
So let's get them there. And and again, it's a journey, and I love talking about that whole your unlimited life, and the whole, why not go after the possibilities. And we're not here to be small. We were never ever put on this earth to be small.
Right.
That's a story that we've unfortunately bought into. And that's why I say that I'm a champion for women's courage. Is because
Yeah.
I believe every woman has the courage in them to stand up, choose their life, and choose how they want to live their life. I've been, it's fascinating, because quite often I ask my clients, actually, I pretty much ask every single one of them, where are you living in your life?
Mm.
Where are you living in your life? Most of them can't answer that initially, because we tend to put everyone else before us. Not why we're here. And it's not selfish to put yourself first. Again,
Yeah.
another story we've been told.
Right. Yeah. As women, we're the caregivers, the nurturers,
Absolutely.
yeah, the glue. So can you expand a little bit more on where are you living in your life? So define your living, right? Or is that what each of your clients define for themselves?
Well, they define that for themselves, but just to kind of give you an idea. So it's really about, when you stop and you look at your life, your day to day, 9 times out of 10, you're running around doing all of the mom stuff. If you're a mom, you're doing all the business stuff, you're doing everything. And when you stop and say, where were you in
Mm.
that day? It's pretty hard to see you. What time did you have for you? Now, some of us are good at doing the, oh, I did. I took a little bit of time and I meditated this morning. I took a little bit of time and I maybe journaled.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's fantastic. But overall, where are you living in your life and really doing the things that make your heart sing. Because one of the things I know is if your heart isn't singing, the people around you, theirs aren't either. Because again, it's that energy that we're giving off. And so and this is why I said, putting you first is not selfish. And it's because when we put ourselves first, we up level ourselves. And do you know the magic that creates? It lets everybody else then around you level up to be in that vibrational state as well. And it allows them, because they're seeing you be your authentic self and choosing you, it allows them to do it as well. And it just becomes magical all over the place.
Magic just sprinkled everywhere. I love that too. And the quote that came to mind too is the rising ship, or the ship a tide. Shoot, I was in my head. A ship and rising, something about the rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, I think it's along that line. I know the one you're talking about. It's not coming to mind right now.
It was there. It was so there. Oh yeah. I'll practice being quick about like Googling stuff. Well,
but, also when you think about it this way, what happens if you're in having a day where things are kind of ho-hum?
Yeah.
Aren't the things around you all kind of ho-hum? And then if somebody comes into your space and they're like down further and they're just in a grumpy mood, doesn't your energy then go down to the grumpy? And yet when you're around somebody that they're nice, they're up and they're really going, yay, this is a great day, what happens? That's where you go to as well. And it's the same thing. So it's about, and we're all going to have bad days. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you don't have bad days. Everybody's going to have bad days. But when we can have more of them, be in that, what I like to say is magical energy state, then that's when all of the fun stuff happens, because that's when our eyes are open. That's when we can see the unlimited possibilities around us and we can actually play in our lives.
Yeah. I love that. So Angela, how do you work one-on-one? Do you do group work? How do you help master our life and our money choices?
So I have free workshops that I do probably twice a month. Okay. And I have a 6-week group program that I do, and I also work with women one-on-one as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And so, I work with some women I work with for a year. I have a year-long program because they really want to get their lives going in that direction that they want to head. And because they've decided to choose themselves and go after the life that they want. Yeah.
Love that. I love that. Okay, great. So where can our listeners connect with you? Where's the best place to learn more and stay connected with you after listening?
So they can go to my website, which is www.angelaunlimited.com. And there's all kinds of information on there. There's also on there, you can jump on my calendar and have a 20-minute conversation with me and see if there's a way that I can be of support to you.
Fantastic. I'll have it linked in the show notes too, for those of you listening, to just tap into and go grab Angela's book, Living Out Loud, Design Your Life of Unlimited Possibilities. I'm excited to go grab that for myself. It has a really beautiful cover that just screams creativity. And I love that. I love that. Is it something that you painted or?
Not myself.
Okay.
I have actually, a woman that I know very, very well, and it was a commissioned piece of artwork. It's an original. And she's an extremely talented artist. And I actually have the original big painting of it.
Yay.
And then, special pictures were taken for the book cover. And it was designed specifically for the book cover.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about choice in that. I mean, that's great. It's so beautiful. You guys need to go check it out. Angela, I want to just thank you again for taking the time to come and really just riff with me and let me ask you questions about your passion for really getting to dive in with women and support them in, living a life out loud. I'm all about the authenticity. Ever since I learned that authenticity is 4,000 times stronger than love, the emotion of love coming, the energy of love being put out, I was like, yes, we need more people talking about how much authenticity matters in the world, and how women especially need to do that, standing up and standing out in their authentic magic to be seen and really heard for the impact that it makes when each one of us take the courageous steps to say yes to what's next for us, even when our voice is shaking, right? Even when we are unclear specifically in the moment, maybe about the next step. I love, the idea of having tools, resources, and people. So what would be one last thing you would love to leave with the listeners about what's something that they can focus on, when they're in that point of really getting to daydream and have that next step maybe being blurry for them? What would you like to leave them with as we close out here about choosing on purpose?
Well, it's awesome. And I love that you said choosing on purpose, because it really is about making that intentional choice. And even when you're in that spot of, oh, it feels a little scary, that is the perfect time to make a choice, to do an action, get into action. I think that's the biggest thing, because once you get into action and you take that one step, it doesn't have to be a huge step. And this is where we kind of hold ourselves back as well, because we do that. I have to have a huge, great big step to get where I want to go. No, it's many, many little steps, because what happens is the next little step exponentiates on the one before, and exponentiates. It's not a straight line. It goes up, and that's fantastic. So I would say get into action and make sure that you have a trusted ear that you can talk to. I think that's so key and so important, something I didn't have for many years. I'm very grateful and thankful that I have many of those in my life now, which is fantastic. And it really is about, we all need help, and there's nothing wrong with getting help. And the last thing that I'll say, celebrate yourself every day.
Yeah.
Celebrate yourself every day. You are more than worthy to be here on this planet.
Love that so much. So true. I think that that's a huge part of the journey, and also having other people to, brag on you because you don't want to do it yourself, but also just remind you of how far you've come, because those little steps, we don't feel them every day. And when we have community and when we have support to, give us encouraging accountability to show up for our dreams, that's when the magic is possible. So, if you're listening to this and you're like, what, that sounds so amazing, the Work on Purpose with Purpose community is all around you showing up to do your self work and getting support for 10 minutes at a time with the community while you get into your own work that you're choosing to focus on for your day. So it's really about an energy enhancer in the moment to like get you going, and then also to have more sustained energy throughout your day, because you're stopping to celebrate progress in a project or organizing a room, and giving it a lift in an energy shift. So if you're listening and you're like, I want to check that out, you can always go to Work on Purpose with Purpose website. I'll link it below, and check out when you can come in and share some experience with the community in that as well. And Angela, I'm going to have all of your stuff linked in here to go connect with you on social media as well, if they're not yet ready for the book. But Angela, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time again today and being on the Choose on Purpose podcast. It was great to get to hang out with you again. I don't think that we said you're in Canada, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we're already international.
There you go. There there you go. Yeah, I'm just outside of Toronto, Ontario.
Yeah, I love it. Great. Well, this was super fun. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to continuing conversation, connection with you, and seeing how I can support the visions that you're doing. Do you do retreats as well?
Yes, I do. I have actually I have a 1 day in person coming up on November the 18th.
Yay! Have such an amazing time. I'll connect with you after that and get the lowdown and see how all of that's going, because I'm all about getting in person, retreating, and supporting community builders like yourself to really keep building the impact and document that, right? And getting that connection and the transformation in the moment. So I'm holding space that you grab some great moments that you can share with me as we connect further from there too. So yeah, thank you. All right, everyone. Well, Choose on Purpose podcast, Becky Ploutz. I'm your host, and thank you for listening.